Greetings class, welcome to Duel Academy. ProfessoRivas here, and this will be the second lesson of your first class in your raw yellow term, Advanced Summoning Techniques, Synchro and Xyz Summoning. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to be up to date with the latest Duel Academy lessons and assessments. So without further ado, get your deck, get your game on, and let's get started. Now, it's time to learn about Synchro monsters. Synchro monsters are placed in the extra deck, separate from the main deck. You can special summon a powerful Synchro monster to the field in an instant just by using levels of your monsters. They can be Synchro summoned from the extra deck by sending one face-up tuner monster and any number of face-up non-tuner monsters from your field to the graveyard, when the sum of all their levels is exactly equal to the level of the Synchro monster. We just heard the term tuner, but what exactly does it mean? In order to synchro summon a synchro monster, you need one tuner. The tuner monster and other face-up monsters you use for the synchro summon are called synchro materials. The sum of their levels is the level of synchro monster you can summon. Here are the steps to synchro summon. Step 1. During your main phase, you can declare a synchro summon when the combined total levels of one face-up tuner monster and any number of other face-up monsters you control are equal to the level of the synchro monster you want to synchro summon. Step 2. After double checking the level of the synchro monster you want, send the face-up synchro materials from your field to the graveyard. Step 3. After sending the synchro materials from the field to the graveyard, take the synchro monster from your extra deck and play it in the extra monster zone or a main monster zone in face-up attack or defense position. To see these steps in action, here are the cards that will be seen in the following demo. Junk Synchron will act as our level 3 tuner, Speed Warrior will act as our level 2 non-tuner, and Junk Warrior will act as our level 5 synchro monster that requires Junk Synchron and one or more non-tuner monsters. These requirements can be read in its description. In this demo, Junk Synchron is in your hand, while Speed Warrior is in your graveyard, and Junk Warrior is in your extra deck. In order to synchro summon, the synchro materials must be face up in your control on the field. Thankfully, Junk Synchron's effect reads, when this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard and special summon that target in defense position, but its effects are negated. So with that, you would normal summon Junk Synchron. Then, target Speed Warrior to special summon it to the field in defense mode. With the level 3 tuner, Junk Warrior, and level 2 non-tuner, Speed Warrior, you can declare a synchro summon to special summon the level 5 synchro monster, Junk Warrior. Send the synchro materials to the graveyard. Finally, synchro summon Junk Warrior to an extra monster zone or main monster zone in attack or defense position. Here are some advanced rulings for synchro summoning. Monsters that do not have levels, such as Xyz monsters and Link monsters, cannot be used as synchro materials. Token monsters and trap monsters can be used as synchro materials. As we discussed in the last lesson, Xyz monsters and Link monsters do not have levels. Since synchro monsters are made from the combined levels of other monsters, they cannot be used as synchro materials. However, token monsters that are produced from cards like Scapegoat and Ojama Trio can be used since those resulting token monsters would have levels. Trap monsters such as Embodiment of Apophis and Tiki Curse also have levels that can be used as synchro materials. Synchro materials are sent to the graveyard by default, but the synchro summon is still successful even if the materials are moved to some other location instead. Even if a card like Macrocosmos or Dimensional Fissure is present on the field, which are cards that would banish the synchro materials as opposed to sending them to the graveyard, they would not stop the synchro summon of a monster. Even if all appropriate monster zones are occupied, a synchro monster can still be synchro summoned as long as at least one of the synchro materials used is in one of these zones, so that there is an available zone when the synchro monster is summoned. Just as we discussed in the previous class, if there's no room to summon the monster, make room. Like other extra deck monsters, if a synchro monster is not synchro summoned first, it cannot be special summoned from the graveyard or while banished. If you wish to practice synchro summoning, you could try out the following decks. Speedroids, Blackwings, and Junk are some synchro decks that have many synchro monsters in their extra deck to synchro summon. Next up, it's time to learn about Xyz summoning and Xyz monsters. Xyz monsters are a powerful kind of monster. You can summon an Xyz monster whenever you control monsters that are the same level. Xyz monsters start in your extra deck, not in your main deck, and wait for you to call them into action. Time to discuss an Xyz monster's rank and materials. As discussed in the previous class, an Xyz monster's stars are on the left as opposed to the right. This is because Xyz monsters have ranks instead of levels. Stronger Xyz monsters have higher ranks. Number 39 Utopia is a rank 4 Xyz monster. In the description, you'll find the Xyz materials needed to Xyz summon a monster. In the case of Utopia, you use 2 level 4 monsters as the Xyz materials to summon it. Xyz materials must be face up before you can use them. Xyz summoning is your cool and easy way to special summon Xyz monsters from your extra deck, and here's how you do it. Step 1. Choose an Xyz monster from your extra deck that you have the right Xyz materials for. The Xyz materials should be face up on your field. Step 2. During your main phase, declare that you are Xyz summoning and stack the Xyz materials on top of each other. And step 3. Take the Xyz monster from your extra deck and put it on top of the stacked Xyz materials in the extra monster zone or main monster zone in face up attack or defense position. Let's see how this all works. In the demo, Speedbird and Gambara Knight will be used as your 2 level 4 Xyz materials needed to Xyz summon the rank 4, number 39 Utopia. In this demo, Speedbird and Gambara Knight are on the field while number 39 Utopia is in your extra deck. Just like synchro materials, Xyz materials must also be face up in your control on your field to use them. With the field set up, it's time to Xyz summon. First, choose number 39 Utopia in your extra deck since you have the right face up Xyz materials on the field. Then, declare the Xyz summon and stack Speedbird and Gambara Knight on top of each other. Finally, take Utopia from your extra deck and put it on top of the stacked Xyz materials. This could be in an extra monster zone or main monster zone in face up attack or defense position. It's now time to see some advanced rulings for Xyz summoning. Monsters that do not have levels, such as Xyz monsters and Link monsters, cannot normally be used as Xyz materials for an Xyz summon, unless played otherwise. Xyz summoning is a level-reliant special summoning mechanic, so monsters without levels cannot be used. Even if all appropriate monster zones are occupied, an Xyz monster can still be Xyz summoned as long as at least one of the Xyz materials used is in one of the zones, so that there's an available zone when the Xyz monster is summoned. Once again, if there's no room, make room. Xyz monsters frequently have effects that require you to remove an Xyz material or materials from beneath it, known as detaching. When this happens, take the necessary Xyz materials and put them in the graveyard. More often than not, one must detach an Xyz material or materials in order to activate an Xyz monster's effect, so detaching is very common. Xyz materials currently attached to an Xyz monster are neither treated as monsters nor treated as being on the field. This means that if a monster that has a continuous effect is used for an Xyz material, that continuous effect would no longer be active since it is technically not a monster nor on the field. For example, if you use the level 6 Jinzo and level 6 Archfiend of Gilfer to Xyz summon the rank 6 Swordbreaker, Jinzo's effect to negate traps would no longer be active. Also, monsters whose effect triggers when sent to the graveyard, such as Archfiend of Gilfer, would not activate if it was detached. Trap monsters and pseudo-trap monsters can be used as Xyz materials. However, tokens cannot be used as Xyz materials. Trap monsters are a great way to get high-ranking Xyz monsters out on the field. For example, one may see the rank 10 Xyz monster such as Super Dreadnought Cannon Express Gustav Max and think it's really difficult to Xyz summon because it requires 2 level 10s. However, if you activate 2 Metal Reflect Slime traps, you have the necessary level 10 Xyz materials needed. When it comes to token monsters, although they have a level, they cannot be used as Xyz materials. When Xyz materials are attached to an Xyz monster, those materials are in a sort of limbo, not technically present on the field. Since tokens can only exist on the field, they cannot be used as Xyz materials. The battle positions of the monsters to be used as Xyz materials does not matter, as long as they are in face-up position. Whether a monster is in attack position or defense position, as long as it's face-up, it can be used as an Xyz material. If an Xyz monster leaves the field or otherwise ceases to be a monster, its Xyz materials are sent to the graveyard, unless the card effect says otherwise. However, an Xyz monster will keep its materials if it is flipped face down. Here are some Xyz decks you may want to try out if Xyz summoning seems right for you. Zodiac, Utopia, and Constellar focus heavily on Xyz summoning from the extra deck. Thank you so much for attending this class. There will be a quiz in this lesson, so don't forget to take it. I hope you have a great day, and class dismissed.